Hello and welcome to today's edition of Keeping It Real with Ramona. I'm really excited to have a very special guest with me here today. Her name is Rekha Rachel George. Hi, Rekha.
Hi, Ramona.
So good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hi, I think you have your daughter with you as well, Rahil,
Yes.
right?
Hi, Rahel.
Hi, Rahil. Good to have you here. So I'll just take a few minutes and introduce Rekha. Rekha is an alumnus of St. Stephen's College, and she's someone who's been doing some very, very interesting work over the last few years. And she uses art, music, and creative expression to work with children in her studio. That's something that she's been doing for several years. Like I said, she's got over 20 years of teaching experience, English and music. And she's got a very special interest in the role of music and arts in child development and education. She studied piano and voice at the Delhi School of Music under Mrs. Zora Shaw and Justin McCarthy. She's also done some very interesting work in the rural space, and that's something that we're going to talk about in a few minutes as we, take this conversation forward. Another very, very interesting thing that Rekha does is she writes beautiful poetry. So I'm going to be asking Rekha today to share one of her beautiful works, one of her pieces of poetry with us. And I'm looking forward to that. So I think what Rekha really believes in is nurturing the artistic spirit. She does that by balancing the discipline of technique and theory with musical independence and creativity. So, Rekha, like I said, I'm really, really happy that you're here today and you're part of this particular edition of Keeping It Real with Ramona. So, what I'd like you to do
Thank you,
now
Ramona.
is,
Thank you for having me.
Rekha, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about how you got started in this particular space. I know Rahil is there, so maybe you could introduce us. We've already said hello to Rahil, but maybe you can tell us a
Rahel,
little bit about Rahil and tell us how you started on this path.
come and say hello to everybody. Come and say hi. Okay. Say hi. Hi.
Hello.
This is Rahel. Rahel. Say pleased to meet you. I'm to meet you. Hi, Ramona. Hi, Moja. Mona. Mona.
Hi, Rahil. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm going. I'm going. Yeah, she's going.
All right.
I'm going. Okay, Rahel. Now she's gonna speak now. Okay.
Okay, Rekha, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you started on the path that you're in currently?
So, I went to a very interesting school right from nursery KG level onwards. I was in a school in Kerala called Pallikudam. It used to be called Corpus Christi in those days, run by Mary Roy, and who's incidentally the mother of Arundhati Roy, the author.
Okay.
So she had a very interesting system of teaching. No notebooks, no pencils, papers. Everything was outdoors, and all the maths was like in the kitchen baking cakes. So we would learn measurements and all the subtraction, addition, all of those things were outside with leaves and stones. She would say, collect 10 leaves. Okay, let's take away 5. What's remaining? What's remaining? So things like that. So I don't even remember having a school bag. So the younger years were spent there because I'm originally from Kerala. Then we, of course, moved, and then many years later, I trained to be a teacher because we're all teachers and doctors in the family. And then I got a chance to work in Manali, and I was there for 15 to 20 years. And we had a wonderful principal again who believed in creativity. So she gave me a lot of space to, experiment with arts. And I was met with a lot of resistance initially, saying everyone cannot be an artist, everyone cannot be musically inclined. But my belief, my honest belief is that inside everyone there is an artist. Inside everyone there is a singer, a musician. So you don't have to be a great singer, but music makes you move. So there are other things that is achieved with art. And art is so soothing, everybody knows that. It's just that nowadays we don't give enough time to it. The academics have kind of taken over. So I don't know, call me an idealist, but I really believe that incorporating arts, any art, painting, singing, music, theater, movement, just kinesthetic movement, dance, just any dance. It doesn't have to be something very technically perfect like ballet or Bharatnatyam, but it can be just any movement. These things are not encouraged in our regular school system anymore. Now it's all numbers and marks, I mean, those are needed, but those are skills needed. But these are very important for the soul, these are very important for the real development of children. So I successfully used arts and I incorporated it into the syllabus. So
Okay.
since I was there for many years, the administration and the staff were very supportive of me. So even teaching something like, say, maths, we would link it up to our art and our dance and our movement, and everything else would, so it became like a cross curricular program. So you are in fact doing fractions, but you're baking a cake. You are in
Wonderful.
fact doing measurements, but you don't know that. What you're doing is you give everybody a measuring tape and say, measure your chair, measure your desk, measure the curtains. So children are learning in a fun way. They're playing, they're doing what they passionately do naturally.
Yeah.
Though those are the things, now everybody is sitting in this much space. There's a book, there's a textbook, there's a pencil, there's a blackboard, and it's kind of limiting. So I think any art, and again, I want to stress that it's not that all the kids have to be artistic,
Yeah.
but there is an artist or a singer in the children, in every human being, in fact, even
Basically,
in an
some form of creativity is what you're talking about, Rekha, right?
yeah, I
We all
think
need
being
that creative
creative.
expression.
Yeah, I think being creative, human beings are creative. It's just that it is systematically killed because our system of education is broken. Our preferences for education is, our definitions are warped. Our definitions of what is success, what is art, even. So people ask me, "Are you an artist?" And I say, We are all artists. That's what I say. And then they don't understand why I'm saying that. What I mean is that I may paint, someone else may do something else. Someone may only be able to sway to music and get lost. Someone will be able to play Bach and Beethoven and Mozart. So we are all artists, and we have to at least indulge in art and surround ourselves with music, movement, everything. And I was initially told that, what, it's not going to fit in. Time wise, you can't fit all these things in. So we had a deal. I had a very fantastic boss, Joyce Davis. She actually said, I said, I will show you results. You want, top students. You want academically top students, because that is our measure of success. If someone is getting
Unfortunately,
90s, right? So
yes.
I said, okay, you give me 3 months or 6 months, and then I will make sure they're academically doing well because of this. So it was more work for me as a teacher, and I had to
Of
get a team
course.
on board. So I had is if I was teaching Shakespeare, I would link it up with my physical education teacher. I was a vice principal there for a year or two, and I would
Okay.
link it up with the art teacher and make some craft from that period. I would link it up with the SUPW teacher, that class which we used to have, which was a complete waste. SUPW. But so I would say, okay, since we are doing this, let's do that in the art class. Let's carry that on to the biology class. Let's carry that on to our picnic. So if you're studying terrace
Yeah.
farming, you go for a picnic and you let them see it firsthand instead of seeing the
Wonderful.
diagram. Of course, in the
Yeah.
cities, we may not be able to do certain things, but
Sure.
there are so many resources around us actually, and there are wonderful people around us who are
Yeah.
into art and passionately believe in it.
Yeah.
So we should
So
rope these people in and
beautiful.
say, come and share your time. So
Rekha,
this
I
is
wanted to
how.
ask you, so how long ago was this that you're talking about? This
So we're talking
particular.
from 1991, 1990 to
Okay.
2005, so 15-year
Okay.
period.
Because I want to tell you something that, there's some schools which are called the New Age schools, which are actually now trying to do this, where there is an
Correct.
integration of,
Absolutely.
all everything. So whether it's, sculpture, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's
Yes.
maths, whether it is, English. So there are some schools who are attempting to do that, but they're very few. So I'm fascinated
Yes.
that so many years ago you had the vision and you tried to
That is
create this possibility for children. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant.
Yes, I mean, I was just lucky to get a space where I was allowed to do that. They could have just said no and then just follow the syllabus, go from chapter 1 to chapter 2 and carry on. But because I took it as a challenge, it was extra work for me for sure, because you have
Sure,
to be well prepared. You can't just
of
go into a
course.
classroom and say, we're going to do a cross curricular program. So I think also, it's important to also be well prepared when you attempt something like this. It's not just an idealistic idea. There's a lot of back work, preparation,
Of
planning
course.
trips, going outside, looking at the trees yourself first, identifying the plants, and then saying, okay, we're going for a bio class and we're going to the forest. So you can't
Lovely.
just take them to the forest and then,
Of
it's a
course.
time wasted if you're not prepared.
Of
So
course.
I did all that. And Manali was an amazing space. And another thing that I really felt was that parents used to say, ma'am, ye sab acha hai, lekin nahi hoga. This is all very good, but it won't work. It's nice. We understand, but it won't work. So I used to say the reason is that it doesn't work is because everyone surrounding that child has to support this idea.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's true.
surrounding them have to support me. I can't just do something and send them home where it's the opposite belief. Like they're watching TV the whole time, or they don't have any space to be creative. So,
Sure.
it was a very interesting project for me, as an experiment almost. And I really felt that it worked wonders. And those children are now working, they're in their late 20s, and they call me, and, they're happy children because they have
Wonderful.
studied in a different way. And they've also got their 90% in 12th and gone to colleges and, become pilots and journalists and all of that. So which
Wonderful.
goes to prove that it can be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost like I mean, now everybody's going back to it. Just shows that that's how it should have been all along.
Exactly. That's what I was sharing. So, Rekha, tell me a little bit about your daughter. I know you've been on this, integration journey of, all these different art forms, and your commitment to it has a little more. So, I would like you to tell us a little bit more about, Rahil, and how, you've integrated all of this in her life and how
Yeah,
that's
I'm glad
worked.
you. Yes, I'm glad you asked that question, because Rahel, my daughter, was diagnosed when she was quite early on, because we are all teachers and doctors in the family. My husband's a doctor.
Okay.
I'm a teacher. Our family is just full of in-laws are all teachers and doctors. So we noticed her needs early on when the milestones were delayed, and we were able to diagnose her pretty quickly. And
Okay.
so we were able to intervene early
Okay.
in the case of just giving her things to do which where she can improve. Of course, we had a period of 2 3 years when, of course, when you're feeling like something, everything is going to go fine. It's just something small, we can fix it.
Yeah.
But as we proceeded with getting her checked by experts all over, all over India and the world, we realized that hers was a permanent neurological problem, not just a learning deficit. So these are two
Understood.
things. When
Sure.
someone says special,
Yeah.
it usually means it's a permanent neurological dysfunction, and it can be many things. It can be a wide spectrum of things. It can be a
Of course.
combination of things. Whereas a learning difficulty usually means it's dyslexia or something like that,
Yeah.
which can be somehow you can mainstream. You can get into the mainstream.
Sure.
So again, a lot of people didn't know the differences between the two.
Okay.
So we first diagnosed it wasn't special needs, and that her,
Okay.
in fact, she was cognitively challenged. And to be honest, I mean, now I'm in a good space, but at that moment, it's a real struggle, because
I
we
can
all
imagine.
have these perfect lives planned out in our heads,
Of course.
and hearing something like, no, this is permanent, and that's it, this is the best it's going to be, and you have to work with this. It's like someone literally pulling out the ground from under your foot, and it shocks you. But I didn't have time to indulge myself and feel sorry for myself, because every day mattered. Early intervention is very important in special needs, and it's
Sure.
very important to get the work started. So
Absolutely.
for me, because I was already practicing expressive arts, I was already teaching theater, the disturbed children just telling them to jump up and down to music, even if they're not good dancers. That itself was proving to me. I could see that there was a difference in the way they are. They're less irritable, they're more open, they're able to perform in class, they're able to be social. So I used to take lengthy notes. I have enough notes for a book, because I knew that this worked. So it was like, okay, then why not? Why aren't more people doing this? And even for
Yeah.
us as adults, you listen to
Yes.
music, you feel good. You may be going through a
Absolutely.
really bad time, but we all do that. We listen to music, we go dancing, you feel better because there is obviously some magical thing that works. Um,
I
so
agree
I
with you.
kind of, headlong went into this whole using arts to teach her different things, to make her play, color, everything. Even when she was a baby, I would put
Wow.
color on her. I would paint on her palms. I would just
Yeah.
paint like this with a sponge and get her to put it on paper, or things like that. Because it doesn't mean she doesn't have to be a painter and use a paint. It can be any art in its
Of
rawest
course.
forms.
Sure.
So when I used that, I already noticed that there was more, there was more response from her side. She was more alert, um, more happy when she was doing things that she enjoyed doing. So things like that. So I was also being faced with some resistance from the medical community and even from some family members saying, you're just playing with fire, because you need to diagnose her properly and make sure she has a diagnosis and that she goes to a special school or an institution. I I have seen all the institutions there are, and every child is so individual and so unique.
Absolutely.
Where-
Each one of us is
where
unique.
Each one of us, whether you're special
Absolutely.
or not, all of us
Absolutely.
are. So,
Yes.
I just thought, there is no one size fits all. How does it work? I mean, I know what Rahel needs, but if there are
Yeah.
20 children in the class with Rahel, how do I fulfill her needs? So I kind of obviously try to fill all the gaps myself with friends, doing puppetry, doing dance. If someone liked to dance, I would say, come and spend 40 minutes with her a week. So it was like a barter system. I would say, I'll bake you cakes. You come and eat with us. So these are friends.
Yeah.
So I just said that input has to go in. It's not that, you need a professional dancer to come or a professional artist to come. It's the community that can do it. And Manali, we
Sure.
were in a community, so we were lucky. Now that community has gone, the whole thing of Nukkad and community is missing. So the children are
True.
not getting that help. We are all insulated now and much smaller families.
That's true.
So these are all interconnected with the social reasons. So uh, and I mean, even now, in fact, even though she's much older and we are all settled well, we still get some questions like, well, did you do the right thing by not sending her to a special school? So by the time we had all the experts and the all the diagnosis, I my conclusion was this, that sometimes the label that you put on a child
Yeah.
becomes the disability.
I yeah. I
When
can
we
understand
label
what you're saying.
when and even people, I mean, as human beings, we are labeled, oh, she's like this,
Absolutely.
he's like that.
Yeah.
Once you label people, you can only get that much help. You can't look outward, you can't get
Yeah.
other help. So if I say my child is autistic, or my child is Down syndrome, or my child is this, then I only go to the Down syndrome autism school. I only get those teachers, I only get those inputs.
True.
So I felt that the label was a disability. So I said, okay, let's go by what you need as an individual. What do you need? You need to be socially, you have social behaviors, you need to be independent, and most importantly, you need to be healthy and happy.
I
Every
think that's
parent
so
wants this.
important. I think the healthy
Every
and
parent.
happy bit is so important,
Yeah,
because a lot of people, whether it's kids or adults, just stuck in their situations and trying to get ahead, we
absolutely.
forget that basic thing, that, what is it
Absolutely.
that makes you happy? And, no matter what it is that you're doing, if you're not happy, at the end of the day, nothing's worth it. So,
Absolutely.
I
And
agree, and I love the fact what you said, that each one of us is unique, because I think
absolutely.
that is what each one of us, even as adults, has to recognize, that, and that's why I've started this conversation series, because each one of us is unique. Each one of us is doing something in a different manner, and a lot of the things you've talked about, like I said, I was surprised to know that so many years ago, you had the vision to integrate, all these different art forms, which is now considered something like, wow, this particular school is thinking of doing this or is doing this. So I have to commend you for that foresight and that vision.
Thank you.
Very, very remarkable.
Thank you for for assuring me, because now this was in 93. We are talking about 1993. My daughter is she's 20, 28, 29 now. And
wow.
Another interesting thing was that there were close relatives, who said she must go to a special school. You are just experimenting with her. You are in denial. You are not agreeing that she's something wrong with her. And I understand their concern, because many parents feel, मेरे बच्चे के साथ कोई problem नहीं है. So because you are so upset and you're so hurt that you believe that there is nothing wrong, and you are in denial. And
that's true. A lot of parents don't want to accept, that there is something going on. And it's not only about special needs. It can be about another aspect of the child,
Exactly.
It could be that the child is a bully, or the child is being bullied, or there's something else going on, or the child is having some sort of, mental health issue. A lot of parents don't want to even think about it or accept it. So I think that, the courage to do that, also to, recognize early on that, something was amiss, and you've got to do whatever it is that you've got to do, which is the best for her.
Correct.
And like you said, she's unique, and you made the best of whatever was available to you, as a parent, and made whatever you could make available to help her, with whatever was happening with her. So
and
I think,
in a way, being in Manali, I intellectualized it less. I was around less intellectuals and experts. So I followed my gut more. I followed my instincts more. So depending on my instincts and whatever support was around me, proved to be working very well, because she has made improvements where doctors can't believe that with her level of cognitive abilities, she is very independent, and they can't understand how she's social and she smiles and she talks to people, because I know people with exactly her level of problems who are struggling, and they are looked after, and even in educated homes they are looked after, but it's kind of like a glorified babysitting. There is no other input where you want the quality of life to be high. You want every parent wants a child to be happy, whoever it is, whether the child has special needs or not. And I think a mother will do anything. You don't leave any stone unturned. You will do anything to find that happiness and health for your child. And I think that's what kind of pulled me towards the things I do best. I paint, I write, I play the piano, I sing. So I thought, let me see if this is something that will pull her out, which will help her to, be the best that she can be. And
so Rekha, tell me what are the changes you saw as you integrated art, music, singing into her life. Just briefly, just tell me a couple of changes you noticed, over the years.
I'll tell you a very simple thing. Many children who have needs, they are not very mobile. They don't move much, because the brain isn't active. So many of their muscles are very passive. And over the years, even something like lifting the arm above shoulder level doesn't happen, because they are sitting on a couch, watching TV, eating too much, not doing enough exercise. Because, people say, Acha, usse nahi hoga. She or he won't be able to do it. But the thing is that these, now something like dancing, she has no coordination at all. She didn't even have balance. She couldn't walk for many years. And people told me, you know what, because the body is fine, but the brain is not giving the right signals to the body to move. So a simple thing like lifting the arms. Now you can get a physiotherapist to lift the arm every day. That is one way to do it, which is the intellectual response these days. You pay 2,000 rupees to a person, and that person comes for 45 minutes and helps you to lift your arm. And fine. that also works. But what about movement, dance, plucking apples from a tree, taking some toys from the top and putting it down? So many ways to do that same thing and making it an enjoyable part of their life. So the two, just for this one muscle,
Yeah.
the activities that I had were a bottle filled with water, and you put
Uh-huh.
it, you cap it tight, and you make a hole with a compass.
Okay. Okay.
Then you just go out into your pavement and you draw with it.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And so what happens? You have big circles. You are not confined to a drawing book or a paper. Your arms are
Yeah.
moving freely. You're using your shoulder motion. I had a huge mirror put in my house, and with a bar of soap,
Yeah.
you draw circles on it. You get it's the same effect as wax crayons.
Okay.
And then afterwards,
Wow.
you can just wipe it off with a hot, with a cloth, warm water. So just all the leftover pieces of soap used to go into a little dabba, and then you take that and you draw, you
Wow.
scratch, you do whatever. So you're using your arms in a natural way. You're enjoying yourself. You're doing art, and physio bhi ho gaya. Your physio is done.
Beautiful. Love that.
So
Beautiful.
for every activity, her lungs are compromised. Her lungs are weak. It doesn't have,
Okay.
because all the muscles are weak. So her lung capacity is way lower than us, you and me. So for that, we would have a cupcake or an idli. You put a candle onto that. You blow, um, you blow the candle, because a simple word like H, pronouncing the letter H, it's so easy for us just to say happy birthday. But for
Yeah.
her, it means she has to inhale and exhale to get that H sound. There are two motions happening. So she
Correct.
would say happy birthday, happy
Okay.
birthday. So she
Okay.
would blow out candles, blow bubbles of water into a glass. So for every alphabet, literally, we created different activities which we were following daily. They were having fun. I involved other children. Her older brother was involved. And so all this, I think, I also should say that, when we think of art, we always think of somebody who is super achiever, a
Yeah.
great Bharatanatyam dancer or a ballet dancer or a
Yeah.
great artist who has exhibitions and sells paintings. But actually, with Rahel, I had to explore the origin of these things because she couldn't do any of that. She just couldn't balance her body. So, just a simple thing like rocking to music or jumping up and down, that itself was enough. So, I was going to the root of the dance, the kinesthetic movement, awareness of the body, how we move without bumping into somebody in a crowded place. How do we do that? It's our brain is telling us move to the left, move to the right. We are avoiding everyone in a crowd. We don't touch them, yet we move. This is kinesthetic intelligence. So that is even more, it's the source of dance. And that is what I needed for Rahel, because she's not going to be a Bharatanatyam dancer or a ballet dancer. She's not going to be an artist, but she can draw. So
Wonderful. How beautiful.
art is fantastic. Any
Yeah.
artistic expression, theater, shouting, singing
Yeah.
loudly, all of this. So it really worked wonders for me.
Yeah. So for today, the sort of topic I had kept for our discussion today was creating from the core, and everything that you've shared really, goes to that particular fact that you've really created from the core. Whether it's in your professional life or personally, with your daughter. Tell me a little bit about the studio that you run, the Allegria Expressive Art Studio. Tell us what Allegria means, and why you set it up, and tell us a little more about the work that you're currently doing.
So when I was before Rahel was born, even I always dreamt of setting up this little studio in the mountains where I would have a large space for artists to come sit in the apple orchard and paint, and I would provide the paints for free. This was you could say a dream that people have in their 20s. And of course, there's no harm in dreaming. You can dream anything, right?
Of course,
So I
absolutely.
always thought of this lovely little cottage up in Manali in the mountains with a picket fence and a potter's wheel in the garden, some swings, apple trees, artists just coming and painting outside, a piano lying in a corner, lots of books. So, a little cafe maybe with with the coffee and some cookies or donuts or something like that. So I always thought I would call it Allegria because there's a lovely movie called Allegria. It's actually a Circus of the Sun, Cirque du
Okay.
Soleil.
Yes.
And I went and saw it in London at the Royal Albert Hall, and that was
Okay.
a dream come true. I mean, I had the best seats. It was a birthday gift, and I love. There's a beautiful song called Alegria. And Alegria in Spanish means celebration. It means joy. So I think life is so short. We have to celebrate it. Sometimes we don't know, what tomorrow is so far away. Today is everything, and we don't celebrate it. We are always preparing for tomorrow. कल हम ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. So I felt that celebrate should be my word. I wanted a word to cling on to in times of
Yeah.
difficulty. That celebrate now, like now smile, now
Yeah.
enjoy. So I always had this in the back of my diary that I will call my studio Alegria, which means celebration of life, which means joy, not just happiness, pure joy, just really feeling that. So later, when Rahel grew up, I still wanted to do that. But of course, because we needed to get her to more, traditional treatments here, my son had to go into a high school. We had to leave Manali at some point. And when we came here, I still dreamt of doing that. So
You're
when
in
I
Delhi
started,
now, right? Rekha, you're in
I'm
Delhi?
in Delhi. I'm based
Yeah.
in Vasant Kunj in Delhi, and
Yeah.
this is my little room for now, and hopefully someday I'll have a space up in the mountains or somewhere, which will be
I'm sure you
Alegria.
will.
And right now I'm teaching. I do creative writing. I teach young writers how to begin writing. Poetry, especially, is my something I enjoy teaching, and
Okay.
painting, art. Sometimes I have piano students who come in, and after 1 month of playing, I realize there's a drummer somewhere, chupa hua. There's a drummer somewhere because their sense of rhythm is so high. I call their parents and I say, you know what, introduce her to the tabla or the drums because she's a natural drummer. So this is what I mean by a holistic approach to art. Not ke,
Yeah.
you're just like this,
In
and
a
I'm only going
box.
to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. They're
So
coming to you
I
for
think
that music lesson, that piano lesson, and you're going to stick to that. It's not about that. It's about finding
correct.
what their, talent, or what will actually, help them, in their creative
Absolutely.
endeavors, and helping them
Absolutely.
discover that. So that, I mean, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. And
That's incredible.
when a student joins, I explain to the parents that I need your cooperation and your trust. Artistically, I will give you excellence. And the funny thing is, the children, one day they come in and they may just feel like painting, and the
Yeah.
parents have given me the freedom to allow them to paint. I recently had a child who had just shifted schools, and
Okay.
he just wasn't playing properly, and I realized that he was feeling upset at leaving his old friends and joining a new
Sure.
school. So the mother had sent me a warning saying that this could be the case, he's really off mood. So we did
Yeah.
something else that day, and parents have trusted me with that process just to get over it, because art is art, whatever works. You
Yeah.
don't have to play the piano. You could be singing, you could be painting, you could be just working out, you could go for a run. That's also something that you're doing, that is creating balance in your body, some peace
True.
of mind.
True.
So for me, it's all one big thing. Art is amazing.
Lovely. So we have a few comments that I can see here. There are lots of hellos, but I'll just read out a couple of them. Sunil Esar says, "Find the inner artist in you." I think that's something we've been talking about. Arjun says, "Such an
Right.
incredible story." Some awesomes, and then Kamal Jean says, "Rekha, you're so strong and creative. Thumbs up." So I thought I'll just share a few of the comments there. And
And thank you to everyone. Thank you
uh,
all.
so tell me a little bit more about poetry, because I think that's another area that I know you've had some of your poems have been published in the anthology of Worldwine, and you've also been featured in a dialogue with poetry, which was a live performance in Mumbai. So I know poetry is something that you've enjoyed over the years. So tell me a little bit more about, your poems, what type of poems you like to write, and maybe if we are lucky, you'd, share one of your poems with us today.
This is amazing because I've never read my poetry out like this, but
Really?
I no, I mean, we did have readings in our little group, which was just a
Sure.
small club of poets. But I think Rahel is the reason that yes, Rahel, she's the reason where that I've started writing. I remember writing my first poem. It just came out naturally. I don't think I'm a great poet by world standards or definitions, but it was just a way of for me to express myself. It was
Sure.
therapeutic to me because I started writing and painting. You believe it or not, in the 30s, in my late 30s, because it was after Rael was diagnosed. And my mom also used to say, I don't remember you doing anything like this in school, because I used to sing. Music was always a big thing. Athletics was a big thing. But she said, you haven't even made one painting till you got married and left. And I said, well, it's because of Rahel. Because like I said, when she was diagnosed, because we are a family of doctors and educationists, it was
Sure.
almost impossible to believe that you think of your children becoming whatever rocket scientists and engineers. And in Malayali families, it's engineer doctor. From where we come. Otherwise, you are no good if you can't do that. And then an MBA, and then there is a path. So
Those are the
uh,
expectations. Yeah.
absolutely, and it still
Yeah.
exists. And
I'm
but it
sure.
was, for me, it was like, how what is the best that Rahel can be? What would so to me, I think I became a better person and I became a better artist for myself. I don't think I am at par with any other good artists or dancers or singers or musicians, but I do all of it in its raw form because I felt that's what's pulled me out of despair. Because there was a period, at least 4 years, I remember, where every day I would get up and think, no, I can fix it. I'm going to do this. I'll do anything. She's going to be fine. She's going to study in a school. She's going to go to St. Stephen's College. She's going to do her MBA in whatever. She's going to Johns Hopkins. She's going to do medicine. All these aspirations, but they're actually, I realized how shallow they were because they are such small aspirations, actually. The biggest aspiration is for a child to be happy. So for me also, art was such a medium. I would write and I would feel like I can do anything. My energy levels were good. I was exercising more. I mean, I'm the fittest I've ever been in my life. I'm 53 and I'm fit now because I know that every time I do it, not only do I get the benefits, but I feel better. Kinesthetically, I feel more balanced. People do yoga, some people do Pilates, some people swim, some people go for walks or treks. And I know exactly how it feels because you feel a surge of energy, you feel good. And scientifically, also, it's proven, you get those happy hormones.
Yeah.
So in that horrible time when I was struggling, I'm such a private person and I can't believe I'm saying it out in public now, but I never told anybody. I would not share that because I'm so private and I'm so proud that I felt like I don't want people to think of me as someone who's cracking. I want to show a strong face. We all do. We all do. We don't, we will dress up, we get to work, we do the things, but inside you may be going through some struggle and nobody knows what's happening.
But thank you so much for your vulnerability and your honesty, because I think anyone who's watching the live now will watch this conversation later. I think for all of us in different ways, there may be those moments or those years in our lives where we're going through something which is a struggle, which is difficult, and sometimes we are not willing to have those conversations with even people who are close to us, or like you said, we want to
Absolutely.
project that image of being very strong.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what I'm grateful for is that you found your balance of how you could kind of go through that particular journey of your life, find the different things
Absolutely.
that worked for you. And like I said, thank you for your vulnerability and for talking about it today, because I think it's a very important discussion. Sometimes people clam up or they close up, or they get so sort of overtaken by whatever's happening in their life that they're not able to even think, how can I, make the best of the situation, or what is the right help that I can get right now. So I think,
Correct.
your
And
sharing your journey will be
yes,
very helpful to many people. Yeah.
I hope so. I'll be so happy even if it makes a difference to one person. The thing is, I feel, everyone around us, the people closest to us, that kindness and that sometimes we are so harsh on each other also. And we don't allow children also the space. Just a simple thing like, sometimes we don't allow children time to reply to us. We are so busy instructing them. We are so busy because we are also busy. We've got other things going on, so that space, artistic space, or just that mental space to be, just to be themselves. Even for 10 seconds, we sometimes don't listen, not only with our children, but with each other. So I think being in Manali, I definitely had more artistic space for sure. And even here, I have to work much harder to find that space. But all my art came because of her. So now I am thankful, that it was not like a negative experience in my life. Looking back, I can say that she was the most positive thing that happened to me.
How
It,
beautiful.
I always people. I mean, even in the first 4 years of her diagnosis, people would do the head tilt. They would be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm so sorry.
For
I'm so
you.
sorry."
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
So
Yeah.
I understand where they come from. They come from a place of concern, and they want to help you. But sometimes that just giving that space and saying, okay, do what's best. That's fine. We believe you. That you
Yeah.
need that little bit of encouragement from those around you to be allowed that. I'm not saying I'm not without struggle now. There are days when you
Of
get up
course.
and think, why is it so hard? And but then the next day the sun comes out and there's more art to do and there's more paintings to do and we're back.
How beautiful. So, Rekha, is Rahil going to be singing for us? And are you going to be able to play the piano, maybe share a poem with us? I'd love for you to do that.
Absolutely.
Whatever
I
you
would
both are
love
comfortable with.
I would love that. I'm just going to go away for 10 seconds to bring her here.
Sure. Perfect.
Let's see.
So, if you're just joining the live now, I've been in conversation with Rekha, and we've been talking about a lot of things. But one of the most important takeaways from the conversation has been about creating from the core, and that's something that Rekha has been doing for a long time. And now we have Rahil in the frame. I think she's going to sing a song for us, and Rekha's going to play the piano.
Okay, great. So this is a song called I Have a Dream, and it's by our favorite band, ABBA. It's a Swedish
Wonderful.
band of the
Yeah.
80s. Ready, Rahul? I have a dream, a song to sing, to heavenly call with energy. If you see the wonder of a fairy tale, you can take the future, even if you fail. I believe in angels, something good in every I see. I believe in angels when I know the night is right for me. My ghost is king. I crossed the street. Good job.
Wow. How beautiful. That actually brought me to tears. Such a beautiful rendition. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Most
Rahil.
welcome.
Thank you, Rekha.
Thank
And
you.
this is going to be the last few minutes of our conversation. So, this is, your time. If you want to play another piece for us, I know you play beautifully. If you want to play another piece on the piano, or you want to share one of your poems, I'd love for you to do
I would
that.
actually love to share one of my poems if that's all right.
Wonderful. All right. Of course. Absolutely.
So this is just a very fun poem. It's also a very real poem. I'm going to read this out. It's called Strange Day Today.
Okay.
Strange day today. The chair just sat down. The table stood up for itself. The front steps were weepy with rainwater tears, and a doormat got majorly taken advantage of. White tiles complained that whenever it rained, they got walked on with shoes caked in mud. The kitchen turned cold. The food processor noisily chewed the cud. The carpet rolled back, exposing dirt and drama, and bits of dry rind, all swept under, out of sight, out of the mind. Strange day today. The chair just sat down. That's it.
Beautiful. Wow, you write really, really well, Rekha. Thank you so much for sharing that. And there are a few more comments here. I'm just going to read them. Smita Jain Kasliwal says, very inspiring, more strength to you. Creative field surely can be very meditative and therapeutic. So Samara says, amazing. And, there are a couple of more comments here. Kamal says, incredible. Sunil Isar says, wow, the time passed by so quickly. Very engrossing dialogue. So Rekha, thank you so much for coming on Keeping It Real with Ramona. And this whole conversation series is about the real people like you who are making a difference in their own incredible way to this world. And I'm sure whoever's watched this or will watch the replay will find so much that they can learn from you, and will be able to draw a lot of inspiration from your journey. And also know that creating from the core, if we decide that that's what we want to do, then nothing's impossible for us. So thank you so much, Rekha, for being here today with me.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.